Hi, I'm Kurt from Ozarma and welcome to Workshop Wednesdays and episode 1 of the STUG 3G rebuild. Father-son duo Glenn and Bo have finally finished working on the Tiger 1 for now and have leapt headlong into this next project. And as you're about to see, they have their work cut out for them. It's going to be a long build, especially since this vehicle will actually be a runner. So it's going to be 18 months at least before we can take this vehicle out for a spin. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Before we can get started, the pieces of this vehicle have to be taken from the museum and into the workshop.
We don't know anything too specific about this vehicle yet, but what we do know is that its final days were spent in the Cortland Pocket in 1945, where it was destroyed by the crew to save it from falling into Russian hands. Now, after 77 years, these pieces will be finally reunited with each other into a whole running vehicle once again.
A lot of work, yeah. Good though, because it's all one vehicle. So that's a bonus. It's good that there's so much of it, but it kind of sucks that a lot of it's pretty badly damaged. Well, not a lot of it, really just the sides, side plates. They're not just bent, they're also twisted. So that's going to be a bit difficult. Pretty much the bulges in the sides of the hull, like this here. You can see there's quite a big bulge here. So that's difficult to get out. It's really hard to get out. There's a lot of heat. We've got to take everything off first. We just got to strip everything back pretty much. Take the sprocket off, clean all the insides out, fix anything that's broken. It's just a pretty big job.
The boys waste no time in stripping the sides, ready for pressing.
Last a lifetime.
But as always, it's never as straightforward as you might think, and it can get a bit frustrating at times.
Yep.
Now everything must be disassembled and checked before being stored until needed later on in the build.
We took the internal cast housing off and everything's just all broken, the shaft and everything's snapped off inside. So we're just taking this apart to see why it's still stuck on, the final drive's still stuck on the outside. And there's nothing there that's holding it on, so it must just be stuck from the impact because the plate's slightly bent. We don't know what the gears are like inside yet, haven't got that off. But the actual housing that holds the brake shoes is pretty bad, pretty badly corroded. Whatever it was sitting in was like extremely corrosive. We're just hoping that like the grease in there with the gears the grease has sort of like preserved them.
So what are you going to do now?
Flip it back over and see if we can get that final drive off. So this is where it must be holding. Halfway through this bearing here. This is the final drive housing this sprocket attaches to. And we've just got it off this piece here this morning. This is actually looking not too bad inside. Probably was preserved from the grease. Short.
Even though we try and save as much as possible, sometimes it's just not practical or safe, especially because this will be a running vehicle in the not too distant future.
There's actually something interesting I picked up this morning with these sides of the hull. They've actually got a weak point where they've all broken. So you can see in the middle of this bolt hole on top of the torsion bar holder, on every single one is where a crack is formed, and that's where this one has actually split the plate in half. A crack has started here, and you can see a crack has started there. So they were a major weak point in the side of the hull. The hull's too close to the side of the plate, and when it gets a bit of force on it, it just cracks that, and then it just starts the process of it cracking. It just all lets go. So that's how they've all cracked like that. Didn't make them to last too long.
With this side stripped, the boys can start pressing. This piece has got bulges, bends and twists, and it's going to be really challenging to straighten, but it's nothing the lads can't handle. As always, the key to manipulating metal is a whole lot of heat.
pressure on the opposite side now. They go down a touch.
Before and after. Not bad at all. But there's still a lot more work to be done. Keep in mind that there's an entire section of this piece missing that will need to be reattached. And of course, there's the other side to press as well. It's going to be a long and arduous journey, but it's absolutely going to be worth it. And we can't wait to have you along for the ride with us.
So keep an eye on our social media pages for future updates, and be sure to tune in next week for more Workshop Wednesdays. So until then, I'm Kurt from Ozama, and I'll see you on the next one.